Two Rivers Talks is brought to you by Two Rivers Biz Starts. Also by Two Rivers Main Street. And by Raleigh Point Economic Advising. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
All right. Welcome to Two Rivers Talks, episode 12, believe it or not.
Episode 12.
I know. I'm Darla. This is my buddy Todd.
Hey, everybody.
We are your connection to all things Two Rivers, be it economic development, the arts. If you are from Two Rivers, there's a lot of information for you. If you're thinking about coming to Two Rivers, you can also benefit from the information that we try to provide to you. And in today's episode, we're going to be joined by Mr. Kevin Willert, who has been a guest in the past, and he's one of the artists who is represented here at Basil Ishkabibble's. The topic for today is arrowhead hunting.
Arrowhead hunting.
He is an enthusiast, and he's got quite the collection. And so we are going to be showing some footage of his collection, plus we'll also be interviewing him. And he'll also be telling us about some of his new works that can be found here at the gallery. And of course, we'll be visiting with Mr. Roger Russove again, who is the director of Main Street. And there's some very interesting information that he shares with us today.
Yeah, some neat, exciting stuff. So you want to stay tuned for all of this. But first off, why don't we turn to the news?
Okay.
All right. So in the news, we've got, first off, Sabbatical Brewing will occupy the former Oriental Milling property. So a new brew pub, that's right, folks, a brew pub, is expected to open its doors this fall on Manitowoc's southwest side. Sabbatical Brewing will be housed in the former Oriental Milling property at 835 South 29th Street. As for the origin of the name Sabbatical, the owner of the business has explained that sabbatical means to take a break. So take a sabbatical, have a beer, relax.
Chill out.
It'll be really good, really fun.
Right.
Looking forward to having them as part of the business community.
Oh, absolutely. And Dick Rohr Memorial Badger Night, and I know a lot of people in Two Rivers are extremely familiar with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's brought to you by the Nashotah Charitable Foundation, which supports area youth charities. It's going to be on Saturday, May the 18th. 5 p.m. is the social, 6 p.m. is dinner with the program to follow. The location is Two Rivers Community House, and the guest speaker is Tarek M. Saleh, who holds Wisconsin's record with 58 career tackles for loss and the second and third best single-season sack numbers in UW history.
Nice.
Tickets are $25 per person, dinner included, and you can click on the link down in the doobly-doo for more information.
Summer season starts May 1st at the Manitowoc County Historical Society. New this season is the Coomer Store Smokehouse, which was dismantled and brought to the museum in 1994 and was reconstructed through 2018. And the Explore Abilities Weekend, which is going to be held on May 25th and 26th. It's going to be an opportunity for children and adults with learning differences and their families.
Right.
So cool stuff there. The Manitowoc County Historical Society is home to the McAllister House Welcome Center and the Pine Crest Historical Village, both cool places. They're going to be open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday through October the 24th. Admission's just $10 for adults, $7 for children, ages 4 to 17, and free to children under age 4.
Right. And hot off the press. Just got this right before we started shooting. May the 11th, there's going to be an artist's reception, Lakeshore Artist Guild Showcase exhibit at the Forced Inn. It's, like I said, at Saturday, May the 11th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The Forced Inn, if you're not familiar, is on County Road BB in Tisch Mills, and they are a fantastic place. And the details are meet the artists and explore the art of the Lakeshore Artists Guild at the opening of their showcase exhibit at the Forest Inn Art Gallery. The exhibit runs from May 10th through August the 11th. The gallery is open before, during, and after all of their theater productions, and they have some really cool productions,
Neat.
Music and special events. So that is definitely worth checking out. I know the person who runs it, and she does a spectacular job, and she puts her heart and soul into it, and there's so much that they offer to the community. So if you have an opportunity, get over there and meet some of our local artists as well.
And so we'll provide a link to that down in the comments as well.
Right.
So definitely worth your attention. Please check it out. Turning to the city calendar, we've got the Two Rivers City Council meeting, which is going to be on Monday, May the 6th at 6 p.m. Always live streaming on Facebook as well. The location is going to be at the City Council Chambers, though, the third floor of City Hall. If you haven't been there, shame on you. You should definitely go. And the agenda is going to be available on the city website.
Right. And Water and Light is having a recycling event. They do this annually. This year it's going to be on Tuesday, May the 7th from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. down at the electric department at 1415 Lake Street. So down in the doobly-doo, there is a link over to Water and Light. So click on that and go to their website, and you can get a lot more information as to what is acceptable and what's not, and the cost for different items.
Yeah, no, a good convenience for the city.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So this next item I'm really excited about because we both had some involvement with it. But the 2019 Light Up the Lakeshore Student Business Idea Competition is brought to you by one of our sponsors, Raleigh Point Economic Advising, run by Mr. Jeff Soxie, and Keith Lyons, his
Right.
partner, is going to be holding this business idea competition for high school students. It's going to be on Tuesday, May the 14th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the UW Green Bay Manitowoc campus. This is going to be a celebration of students and entrepreneurship in Manitowoc County, as we see high school students from our area representing 11 big ideas, and 3 high schools compete in a business pitch competition for more than $17,000 in scholarships and in-kind supports. There is money for your business ideas, and so hopefully this is the first of many of these kinds of competitions, but to support the growth of entrepreneurship in our little corner of Wisconsin, I think is critically important to the economy.
Oh,
As
absolutely.
I can go on and on and on about.
I know.
And I will.
Well, and actually we do. When we talked to Roger Russove during our Main Street Minute segment, you'll just have to wait and watch it. But
Spoilers. No.
yeah, really. But I mean, there is kind of a theme with today's episode when it comes to entrepreneurship and young people,
Yeah.
and retaining, the youth in our area, and ways that how that can be accomplished. So this does kind of tie in with Roger.
Yeah,
as
it
well.
does. It does, and I can't emphasize this enough. Jeff Soxie has been a tireless proponent of really promoting entrepreneurship, in the county and here in Two Rivers, and thanks for all of his efforts in pulling an event like this together, as well as a lot of other people that have helped through this process. I know he's got sponsors that are lined up from the
Right.
business community, as well as some great people like Ryan Kauth from UW Green Bay, who's the lecturer on entrepreneurship. So, you should definitely turn out and see this event, support the high school students in your area, and you won't be sorry for it. It's an investment in the future of our county.
Right. And I did have confirmation from Jeff that in an episode after May 14th, which is the day of this business idea competition, he's going to be visiting us to give us the breakdown as to how everything went,
That'd be great.
and to talk to us about some of the ideas that came out of this, and to talk about the winners.
Very good.
So that'll
Yeah.
be after May 14th.
Yeah.
Another event that's coming up, it's called Secure, Shred, and Recycle event. Saturday, May 18th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's brought to you by the Two Rivers Optimist Club. It's going to be held in the parking lot of the J.E. Hamilton Community House. And this is really nice. You can bring up to 10 bags of documents that you've got lying around your house for free shredding.
This is kind of interesting. So, there's the recycling event on May 7th, that the city's doing, and then there's this. It's sort of like the spring clean, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. So if you have your bags of documents that you've been waiting to shred, this is your big opportunity. Or the little confetti party afterwards.
Yeah,
right?
it's going to be a mess.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So one other item is the Hildegard Deja Vu.
Yeah.
On Saturday, I can't wait to see what this is about. Saturday, May 18th from 1 to 4 p.m. You always have one for me in here.
I know.
The location is at the Washington House Museum and Visitors Center. Sing along to 70 years of musical memories.
And that's all we know about it. I don't know any more details than that. So
It could be love songs. 70 years of love songs. I don't know.
shanty tunes.
Shanty tunes. I love it. A good old sailing shanty tune. That would be great.
I don't know. Maybe we should go and just film it.
Maybe we should.
Because I have no clue as to what to expect.
If you're from the Washington House Museum, you see this, you want to add a comment and do a plug for the event,
Yes.
please add to it. Because we don't know.
We don't know what the heck
We'd like to
going
know
on.
more. We'd like to tell other people about it. So that'd be great.
And if you want to tell us about the next Two Rivers Biz Starts meeting.
I would love to tell you when it is.
Okay. Okay.
What it is might change a little bit. So, so Wednesday, May the 22nd at 6 o'clock, Leicester Public Library is going to be the next meeting of Two Rivers Biz Starts. The topic will either be financial planning for business success. I'm still pending a speaker for
Okay.
that. So I'm waiting to get back a confirmation. If you can't do that, we'll just kind of flip it. But if that particular topic is not tripping your trigger, which it should, because it's really important if you're doing a business. But the alternative is going to be getting past rejection or beating rejection. And so Roger Russove had shared with me this really cool TED Talk about a guy that just decided that he was going to go out and just try to get rejected day after day for like a year or something like that.
What a masochist.
And it's hilarious. It's like the talk is amazing. And I think it's just going to be a nice launching point for talking about when you're running a business and you're in a sales-oriented kind of business, you know, how do you deal with the rejection of that?
Right.
And I think every one of us is in anywhere in the business community. We've all had people say no to us at one point or
Right.
another, and it can be devastating. And so sort of getting past that or sort of having the right mindset so that you realize, you know, and I've heard like all kinds of, you know, advice and stuff like this over the years. Like every time somebody says no, that's worth $50 to you, because when you get to yes, it's going to be worth this much more.
Okay.
You know, so like it is a lot about mindset, and
Right.
it'll be interesting to have a community discussion about some of that. And
That'll be interesting,
yeah.
especially to hear people's own stories about rejection.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a way to grow as a person.
Right.
You know, to be able to let some things just kind of like, you know, water off a duck's back.
Right.
Type
right.
thing. Don't take it too personally. Develop
Exactly.
a very thick skin.
Exactly. So I just had a funny thought. So if any of you who are watching this out there have had a funny rejection happen to you, we'd love to hear about it. Please add it to the comments down below, and we'll respond. And it'd be a lot of fun to hear about you know, how you dealt with rejection and got past it, and are a better person as a result.
Your personal growth.
We're here for you. Anyways. What's going on at the Leicester Public Library, Darla?
Oh my goodness. For the adult events.
It looks like a plethora of events.
You like that word, don't you?
Plethora.
I do
Yes,
too.
yes. Okay.
For adults, Scholar for Life, Stereotype or Reality, Gender Differences in Cognitive Abilities. And this is an age-old fight between men and women. First of all, it's going to be held on Wednesday, May the 8th at 6 p.m. over at Leicester Public Library. And the subject is, do cognitive abilities of boys and girls and men and women really differ? UW Manitowoc psychology professor Maureen Crowley summarizes studies comparing performance in math, verbal skills, intelligence, and spatial orientation. Are societal assumptions validated or dispelled by this research?
That's very cool.
I know.
I'm very spatial.
I don't know what I am. I know I'm superior.
You are.
You know, women versus men, we win.
There we
Anyway,
go.
and recurring events, book to art club, genealogy club, card making class, chess club, and Cool City Writers Club.
Chess Club is new. I'm really intrigued by that.
Yeah,
It sounds
yeah.
like it would be a lot of fun. For those of you that play out there, I'm going to try to go.
Okay.
And you will easily beat me because I'm terrible at it, but I enjoy it. It's a fun game. The Book to Art Club is kind of interesting. It's book to art, and then is there an art to book club?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
I have questions. I'm full of questions today.
We'll have to have Jeff come back.
Yeah, Jeff will have to come back and set us right on all of this. I need a lot of setting right. Okay. Teen programs are going on as well. Book Nerds. Get real. Get real. Monday, May the 20th at 6:30 p.m. Explore epic reads, create, snack, watch movies, and more. Take time for a little self-reflection and build identity word clouds. Happy little word clouds. Ms. Terry L. talks about great new realistic fiction.
Right. And for the youth, recurring events are story time, jumpstart, and baby garden.
Very nice, very nice. What's happening at the senior center, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. 2 words, giant Jenga. That's right. Thursday, May 23rd at 10 a.m. How will you stack up against the law of gravity? Test your luck at the original woodblock game that has been loved for generations, except giant.
It's for giant and awesome.
Yes.
I'm wondering just how big these pieces are.
It's probably like this tall.
That would be really kind of
cool.
Spring watercolor. It's going on Thursdays now through May 16th at 1:30 p.m. over at the Senior Center. They are learning the techniques and processes of watercolor in these relaxed and informal classes. All supplies are provided, and the seniors will be able to take home a new piece of art after each class. Seniors can sign up for as many classes as they like. It's $15 per class for members of the Senior Center, and $20 per guest, for class rather, if you're a guest.
Right, got it. Okay.
Pre-registration is required because space is limited.
That sounds so sweet.
It does.
It sounds like you really learn something, in a small group setting like that, nice and relaxed.
Right.
And, I need to learn how to make happy little clouds. So,
Happy little squirrels.
happy little squirrels, happy little clouds.
And recurring events over at the Senior Center are Silver Sneakers Yoga, Sheep's Head, Zumba Gold,
Zumba Gold.
and poker, plus more.
Oh, that's cool.
I know.
Yeah, there's always a lot going on over at the Senior
Oh.
Center. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great resource. If you didn't see our last episode, we had the director on and one of the top volunteer
Yeah.
from 2018. Go check out that interview if you haven't seen it before. But yeah, amazing programs.
It really
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Two Rivers Parks and Rec. We've got coming up Heart-A-Rama. Everybody loves this event. It's Thursday, May the 9th through Saturday, May the 11th, 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. At the J.E. Hamilton Community House. Heart-A-Rama is a nonprofit variety show performed 6 nights a year in Two Rivers. 2019 marks the 49th year. Absolutely amazing. With a total of over $2.8 million raised for the American Heart Association Midwest affiliate, along with donations of AEDs to public gathering places throughout the county. Very worthwhile event.
Absolutely. And also coming up is the Memorial Day Parade. It's going to be on Monday, May 27th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The parade starts at Central Park in beautiful downtown Two Rivers and travels to Pioneer Rest Cemetery where a service will follow. So please come out that day and join us in remembering our fallen heroes. And I've been involved with the parade for several years, first through the American Legion, and then I'm no longer on city council now, but I was involved with the parade through city council too. And just a fantastic turnout of residents for this event. And so
Nice.
Hopefully the weather is cooperative, but please come on down and just show your love.
We've got to do that. That sounds great. Also, the 2019 Central Park Concert Series is kicking off. The first concert of the series, Jazz in the Park, will be on Tuesday, May the 28th at 6 p.m. That will be at the Central Park Band Shelter. And all the concerts in the series, which runs through late August, will take place rain or shine. In the event of inclement weather, concerts will be held inside the J.E. Hamilton Community House. So they're happening. Come out, check out the music, have a little food, be with some family and friends. It'll be a very nice time.
Oh yeah, and our downtown park is it's so beautiful, and there's more that's being offered during these events, and spring sprang. So finally, we're starting to see that some of these outdoor activities are starting for the season. The last thing that we're going to talk about in our segment is Two Rivers School District, and I think this is very cool. The Two Rivers Schools District Art Show. It's going to be May the 2nd through May 29th at Leicester Public Library. You go on into the library during the month of May and enjoy the artwork of young people in our community.
I really love this. Every year there's always just so many interesting pieces, a lot of talented young people that are creating art in our city.
Right.
It's really nice.
So a big thank you to the library for having that for the students in our area so that they can get a little recognition. So that pretty much wraps it up for Todd and I, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes.
Welcome back, everybody. We are at that time of the show again called the Main Street Minute with Roger Russove, director of Two Rivers Main Street. Welcome, Roger. Good to see you again.
Great to be here again.
Great. So I was thinking today it might be fun to talk about signs. Signs and portents. No, signs and facades. Signs and facades.
Signs and facades.
Yes.
What an excellent topic.
Yes, well, I thought that it might appeal to you.
It's a topic I would really like to talk about from the standpoint of the fact that Main Street has a grant program for businesses in the bid district to replace or restore, historically appropriately replace or restore signs or facades on their buildings.
So in the bid district, that's the Main Street and nearby?
That area would basically start at the Lighthouse Inn coming into Two Rivers.
Okay.
Go up Washington Street to 22nd, and then spread out to Pick and Save and Piggly Wiggly. It also includes Jefferson Street, Adams Street, and Monroe Street between 16th Street and 22nd Street, as well as all of the corresponding numbered cross streets.
Okay. So how does the grant process work?
Well, one of the keys to this process is one of the keys that I've talked about before, one of the things that Main Street was founded on, and that's historically accurate renovation and restoration of buildings in downtown business districts. So that's part of the focus of the grant program. If you are interested in doing something to the facade of your building that would be historically relevant, step one, and if you're not sure what historically relevant is, the Wisconsin Main Street office has a design specialist who's there really just to do that. He can look into the history of a building, whether it's a building specifically or whether it's other buildings of the same era in the same type of downtown, to come up with a great starting point, which would be renderings of what that building should look like to be historically relevant.
So based on the original architecture, kind of looking at that and coming up with a sign that's era specific or era appropriate.
Yes.
For contemporary to when that building was built.
Correct.
Not based on what, because like some of the facades have changed like in the 70s and got really kind of cheesy looking. As a transplant, kind of coming here, kind of looking like what's going on with this building, this mostly roof,
Yes,
right.
the fishing village mansard style that was kind of driven as a theme of downtown Two Rivers years ago, and frankly, I'm not a fan of themed buildings. I'm a fan of historically accurate buildings as much as possible.
I'll say it. I think it's pretty ugly. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. You can be a little
right.
less political
I don't have
than
to
I
be
can.
political about it.
Right.
I mean, it needs to change, and I think something that adopts the character of the downtown, space that's appropriate to the time when those buildings were built.
Yes.
I mean, that's going to be great. That'll show the true character of the city.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing that Joe does when he goes through this process is he not only focuses on the historic appearance of the building, but he also understands how to adapt that to the current use of the building. And Joe will do a set of renderings for the building owner at no charge. So that first step in the process, what should the building look like, is free to that building owner. That gives something for that owner to take to a contractor and start getting quotes and see what it would cost to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Once they have 2 of those, the next step is to bring them back to the Main Street Design Committee, and we will look at them at what he's going to do versus the drawings, and if everything meshes together. We have a fund of this year, at this time, $7,500 available for that. And I say at this time because that will move on occasion depending on donations and sponsorships that are specifically targeted toward the Sign and Facade Grant Program.
Oh, okay.
Is there, I'm sorry to interrupt,
No,
but,
no.
you know, like, my building has been around for over 100 years. And so if I wanted to do something on the front, it has to go back to the original build, or there's been different, you know, if you look at it in the 1930s, it has, but that was historically relevant time as well. So is there a little bit of leeway as to, you know, what we can do?
There is, yes,
Okay.
yes. And you know, I mean, some of the basics that we obviously don't want to see, you know, vinyl siding is pretty much a no-no if you're going to apply under this program. You know, it's more about original style of materials, and you know, if original in the case of a building like this one is 1930s, that's fine. You know, and in terms of signage, you know, the recommended sign is what's called a blade style sign that sticks out perpendicular from the front of the building, which is important for 2 reasons. One is that if you go back to, let's say, the 1930s or 50s or 40s or whatever, that's how buildings were signed back then, so that people moving down the road could see from a distance away exactly what that business was. Which also means that that sign's better for your business, because if somebody's driving down the road and the sign you have in the front of your building is flat to the front of your building, parallel to the roadway, they can't see it until they're even with your building.
Yeah.
Which means they're much more apt to just keep driving,
Yeah.
because they can't make a decision until they're past the building to pull over.
So it's just as appropriate today as it was then to attract motorists to want to stop in the city and do a little bit of shopping.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's great to hear. If somebody wanted to donate to that fund, how would a wealthy investor who is committed to the growth of Two Rivers and Manitowoc County contribute to that?
They can contact the Main Street office, and we will work with them. And obviously, Main Street is a 501c3, so that contribution to the Main Street program, no matter what it's targeted for, is a tax-deductible contribution. And we will earmark those funds with them to the Sign and Facade Grant Program and give them appropriate credit on our website, as well as if it ends up in a specific project at the time that the project is completed, we would do the same thing.
That's awesome. So, Roger, thank you for that. You actually made signs sound like a really cool, neat topic.
I have a lot of marketing background, and signs are part of marketing a business.
Well, it is,
and an
it
important
is,
part
yeah.
of marketing a business, frankly.
Yeah, I don't mean to be flippant about it. It's critically important, I think, for the city. You think about how it can turn around perceptions of a city, and you look at, sort of cities that have adopted things like this, like a Cedarburg, it would be a notable example, that they're known for this great downtown historical experience.
Yes.
And we've got so much of that rich architectural history here on our Main Street in Washington. Why wouldn't we take advantage of that? I mean, as any small business would want to at least get the consultation and the view of what
Yes.
their building could look like.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we just recently had some drawings done for Rudy's Lanes,
neat.
which is potentially going to be sold, and the design specialist came up with some really neat ideas, and we're working with a potential buyer to see how that all can be incorporated.
Super cool.
And what time frame is that building?
Realistically, we're probably 4 months away or so on it yet. There's a few parts.
How old is the building?
1940s actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 1940s building.
Nice.
And interestingly enough, there was a time period, and we're not sure what time period, there's still research being done, that building was a split log front.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that was done historically with that building, we may see that come back.
Oh, wow.
That'd be kinda cool.
Oh, that would be
Yes.
so different.
Yeah.
I would love to see neon on the front with a bowling pin going over.
Little
I want to see
animated bowling
stripes.
pin, yeah.
Yeah.
Neon is very expensive,
Yeah.
and
Well, a
it's
lot
also
of LED now. So.
yes, it's also become a bigger challenge as winters have gotten colder, with it continuing to work outside.
Okay.
Sure.
And he has looked into that, and you know, there are a few options being looked at that way. And I'll just say that when all is said and done, that is going to be that's going to be a great look at our downtown versus,
Yeah.
of course, what it is now.
A nice,
Right.
nice draw to the
Yes,
area.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Between that and things like the opening of Cronuts, the new business over here. Why don't we make a segue and talk about new businesses?
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll start with one that opened last week, as a matter of fact, or a couple weeks ago, and that is Level Up Nutrition,
Okay.
which is an Herbalife store right across the street from Basil Ishkabibble here in the 1600 block on Washington Street. They sell Herbalife shakes and Herbalife products that you can take home. The owner has been doing this for quite a while, and she can help you with everything you need. They're currently open from 9 to 2, Monday through Friday. At this point, and she's considering what she's going to do with her hours, but please stop in and say hello to Lori and try some of the product.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that. That's
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Super. What else is happening?
Well, you mentioned Scream and Conuts,
right.
which
Scream
is the
Conuts,
new, which is a new ice cream shop that will be opening in the next probably 3 to 4 weeks at the corner of 12th and Washington Street. If you drive through downtown Two Rivers and you make it to the south end, you'll see a pink
building
and white building that frankly, I don't care what anybody thinks about the pink. It's better than the mustard color that the building
Right.
was before.
Amen. Yeah.
And what is the name? What is the name of her business?
Scream and Conuts. The reference is, of course, ice cream
Okay.
and conuts, because the cones that she's going to serve these in are actually donut batter.
Okay.
This is something that
Yeah.
Emily, who's going to be opening the business, saw in Europe
Right.
and decided to bring to Two Rivers. And from what I understand, there's only a couple places in the United States where you can get these. And so the cone is made of donut batter, and you can get coatings on it, and you can get drizzles inside as well as ice cream and toppings inside. I think it's going to be just awesome.
I love it.
And
Yeah.
what a terrific addition for the birthplace of the ice cream sundae here in Two Rivers.
Right.
It is. It's,
Yes.
It's like the legacy lives on, right?
Exactly.
So we can call it Home of the Screaming Conut.
There you go.
That is. I had no
There you
idea
go.
that's what she was going to name it.
Yep.
I'd like to, if you would kind of tell us a little bit about Emily Ristican, her age in particular.
Yeah, this is a great story.
Yes, Emily is 17 years old, and I met her about a year and a half. No, about 2 years ago. The Two Rivers Main Street program decided to, in an effort to increase communication and cooperation with the schools, we opened a board of directors slot for high school students. And modeling this from some other communities that had done it, what we did is we now have basically 2 high school students serving in one spot on our board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
The senior, who will have been on as a junior, also serves as a voting member of the board, just like anybody else who's on the board. But we also have a junior there who's basically there to observe, obviously give us whatever input they want, but they aren't a voting member until that second year when they become a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Emily was the first junior that was appointed to our board of directors. And she, like most high school students, was a little bit quiet the first 3 or 4 months she was on the board. Darla, you could vouch for that. But she very much, she and Calvin Veldre was the first senior that was on the board, very much came out of her shell about 4 or 5 months in, and really enjoyed the atmosphere of being on the board and the business people and connecting with those types of people. And that was one of the things that spurred her to open her own business.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yes, and she finished high school early and took some classes at LTC after the time she decided to start this business. And now she, at 17 years old yet, is going to be opening a business in downtown Two Rivers in the next month or so.
And it's a very unique business too.
Yeah.
I give her kudos because
Yes.
she's she's really very original in her thinking and what it is that she has experienced and bringing into our area that is not really seen anywhere else.
It's great.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know this, but I don't know how well known it is, but I do a lot of work with the Two Rivers Biz Starts program, and we see a lot of small business owners that are coming in and thinking about starting a business who are saying, oh, I want to open up a pet grooming store or a florist, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you ask them a little further about, like, well, what's your plan to be a unique offering within that space, and they can't articulate it. So it's really exciting. It's doubly exciting to see a young person who is setting up something that is such a unique take and is going to add to the character of the city. I get excited when I see that. And so we've helped her through the BizStarts program. Just this past week, she's had a mentor from. So Two Rivers BizStarts is part of the larger BizStarts program, which is a 501c3 out of Milwaukee,
Right.
And they have business mentors for that. And so she's taken advantage of some of that, and I think we're trying to do everything we can to make sure she's super successful at this, and really excited to see her joining and becoming part of the Two Rivers Main Street family too.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm thrilled that the whole story, that getting involved with Main Street is what convinced her to do this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say necessarily convinced her, because I have nothing against or for going to college, but her courage and having to go home and tell her parents at one point, I decided I'm not going to college, I'm going to open a business instead.
Right.
And I think that's wonderful. And frankly, the fact that she and her boyfriend, who eventually will be opening a business here, it's great to see high school students who want to stay and become a part of the community that they're in, rather than the standard line that we hear all the time is, oh, they just can't wait to graduate from high school and get out.
Right.
Well, you know what? I don't know about other communities, but that's not true in Two Rivers.
And that's great. And I think, so I was just on Facebook about this morning. So Jeff Soxie from Raleigh Point Economic Advising just put out an economic report on Manitowoc County for 2018. And one of those issues is declining population in the county and the rising median age. And so one half of that equation is younger people leaving the city,
Yes.
leaving the county for other places. And I think the more that we can do to engage young people, high school students and younger, with living and working in the community and seeing that there are viable opportunities for them as entrepreneurs here, and helping them understand what it means to do those kinds of things, and having resources like Two Rivers Main Street to get it off the ground. I'll give you a plug there.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And BizStarts, of course.
BizStarts, well, thank you.
Yeah, invaluable, I think, for somebody like Emily,
And these things are, this is not only, like I hear there's a lot of cynical voices out there about the area and the city, and sort of like, oh, poor us, business is bad. Well, you know what? This is a place that's been founded on entrepreneurship. You look at the history of it. You don't have to be somebody who lived here your whole life to read the history and see the things that, great things that came out of this city. I'm sorry, I'm a little fired up about this issue.
Yeah.
but this is about supporting the viability of this as a community and as an economy. And there's no reason why it shouldn't be. We're in a great location.
Yep.
There's no reason why these businesses can't be thriving. And so, parents, if your kid has some ideas, they want to start a business, they want to do something, encourage them to do it here. There's a lot of resources here within this market to do it. So sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
Well, no, that's okay. And I'm going to use that to slide into something else real quick. When you talk about shopping at your local businesses, something that a lot of people aren't aware of. I'm going to throw out a couple of statistics here. When you spend $1 at a locally owned and operated business, like Darla Store or Schrader's or any one of the other many locally owned and operated businesses, 68 cents of that dollar stays in this community.
Amen. Yeah.
If you spend that money at a chain store in Two Rivers, and I'm not picking on them, but this is just the difference, 43 cents stays in the community. So for every $1 you spend at a locally owned and operated business, 25 cents more stays in the community that you live in or work in or happen to shop in. Obviously, if you spend money on the internet, none of it does. Or if you spend money in Green Bay or wherever the case may be. And frankly, the businesses in a community like Two Rivers, or the locally owned and operated businesses in any community, I don't care where it is, those are the businesses that are going to sponsor your child's soccer team, or
Right.
sponsor things like putting art up on banners in Central Park, and support the Park and Rec department so they can offer all of the programming that they do. And it's invaluable. The local shopping is invaluable to a community of any size, but particularly to a community like Two Rivers.
Right.
Fantastic.
I did want to mention the art in Central Park. The 20 finalists were picked by jury,
Nice.
Yep.
and a friend of ours, John Rohr, who is actually a photographer, who is represented in this gallery, came by today, picked up all 20 of these canvases, and he's going to scan them for the banners. So thank you to John Rohr. And so I just wanted to mention that we hit that deadline.
Yep.
And how many did we ended up with
31.
31 entries.
Yes.
And
That is fantastic. Nice.
yeah, and then it had to be pared down to 20 finalists, and that had to have been difficult.
Oh.
Because, I mean, I had artwork coming in here, you had it coming into your office, and oh my gosh, the creativity, was tremendous, and the variety
I can't wait to see
of
them.
the art,
Yeah.
and also the ages
Yes.
involved, from 4.5 years old up into, I think the oldest person was in her early 80s.
Yes.
And she hadn't been painting that long, and she did a great job.
Amazing.
I know.
That's great.
And I think that's really going to make Central Park look special this
Oh
year.
man, I can't wait.
Those will be up, by the way, by sometime the week of April 13th.
April 13th.
May 13th, excuse me. Thank you very much for catching me. May 13th. Yeah, we passed April already. Yeah, those will be up sometime the week of May 13th.
I didn't know if you had a time
for
for travel
people to
machine
see.
or something.
Yeah. He's special.
I have so much to do. I wish I could sometimes.
Yeah, really.
But
I hear that.
and like I said, it's going to be a great look in Central Park. We'll have some pamphlets available that people can pick up and learn about the artists. All of that information will be on Main Street's website too. So if somebody comes downtown, they can pull out their smartphone, they can pull that page up, and it'll have some information on each of the artists and each of the paintings, and where that particular artist's work might be available if they do work commercially and things like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Well,
All right.
Roger, is that it for this week?
I think so. I think
Okay.
that's plenty.
Well, it's quite a lot, and I think R2D2 is telling us it's time to go here.
I
So-
apologize for that.
I was enjoying it.
It's kind of cool. It's like it's a Star Wars theme going on. Very interesting. Anyway, no, thank you, Roger. As always, it's a delight to have you on the show, and we'll see you again next time.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thanks. And we will be right back.
And I'm really sorry I forgot to mute my phone.
That's okay.
hilarious. I loved it.
Hi there. I am Kevin Willert, once again on behalf of Basil Ishkabible's Art Gallery and Shared Space and TR Talks. I would like to go back on a little bit of something that I had done the other day. I went out artifact hunting and I found a number of items, but I just kind of want to explain what things are, how I got into the hobby, and I would guess I will start by showing you some of my better artifacts that I do have. Here are some of the better things I have. There are a number of axes which are in the back right here. Those came out of the School Hill area. That was actually property of my wife's uncle at one point. He had passed away and his collection went missing, but these are two of the axe heads that were still left within the family, and they were given to me now. And there are some other similar items like this one. This one I actually ended up buying from a friend of mine. It's called a celt, which is in the family of the adzes that were made back then. There's also another celt here. Little cruder stone, but similar in style and functionality. There are game stones. This is a large one. This came from Montana. Found this one when we were kids on my uncle's property. There's a lot of stuff out on his property, and these are local. My son found the largest one in this collection. This one is stone. This is stone. These three are stone, actually. The three in front here now are colonial period, and they are made of clay. They were fired, so this is what the kids used to play back in the day. Other things that you find in the field are stones such as this, which is, some people call it a hammerstone. This one I kind of suspect on that part of it. This is chipped away here, some possibly. But in here is what I refer to as a pecking stone, and they would have had something else. I really don't know the usage of it, but you can see there is work done here, and there is a little bit of work done on this side. Other things run from scrapers. This is my latest scraper that I had found. Pretty decent one. And they're made of different types of stone, types of flint and chert that are local to the area, and river cobble is what they would have made these out of. Certain stones are found in certain areas of the United States. This stone here is actually something that you can only find on the west end of the state of Wisconsin. It's called Hixton silicified sandstone, and it's found in Alma, or what they call Hixton, and it's one mound, and it's called Silver Mound. And this is a quarry, and that's where this stuff came out of. And it can be found in different parts of the United States, but it was a trade piece, and they would have traded for other stone and probably hides and other things. There is copper that is brought down from the state of Michigan, or up in the UP, and it was quarried. Here's a little piece here. This is just float copper. Real small piece. I do have a larger piece here at home. And then there is also a copper point here. This came out of the area of Clark's Mills in Wisconsin. And it's a spear point. It would have been socketed, but the brad that held it in place is gone. And this is a fairly big piece. There's larger than this, believe me, very big pieces that have been found in the state of Wisconsin. And then just other random stone. This one I thought was cool because it had a bullseye within it. And then just some really neat formations and pieces that were found in the United States. Mainly Wisconsin here. There are some points that I did find from Pennsylvania, like this here. This is called rhyolite. Not a real easy stone to work with, but it did the trick. They survived, and we are here to prove that point. My oldest piece is right here. And this is called a lanceolate point, and it's just got that little rounded convex base, and that's what makes it that type of point. And that goes back probably 8,000 to 9,000 years ago. I picked up the hobby back in 2003. Just off a whim, I went to a friend's field, and I found my very first point when I was a kid, actually, right here. That was by the Two Rivers dump. But my next point that I actually looked for was in 2003, and this is it right here. It's called a Snyder's Point. Real nice shape. Typical arrowhead shape. Shortly after, there was the need for a new editor for the Badger State Archaeological Society, and I have held that position since that time period. And on behalf of our society, on behalf of the art gallery, and on behalf of TR Talks, I guess I will call myself out for the day. So take care, all, and have yourself a good hunt if you ever do decide to go. Thank you.
And we're back, everybody, and we're really happy to have you on the show here again, Kevin Willert, artist, archaeologist, Renaissance man.
Are you really happy?
I am really happy, yes.
Ecstatic.
Yeah, you're a cool dude. It's always fun to talk to you. So we wanted to talk a little bit about sort of the the archaeology side of Kevin Willert today.
Sure.
And so you're back out in the field again.
Yes.
And,
I was anticipating the better weather, and finally the sun shone its weary face, and I decided to run out into the field and see what I could find. And the day that I had gone out, just 3 pieces really. One, when I went back and looked at it, it's really nothing. It is an artifact, I suppose, to a point where it's worked stone, but it was really nothing. But the other 2, one really crummy arrowhead, but it's an arrowhead nonetheless. But it was just nice to be back in the field. I could breathe again.
Yeah.
Goodbye, winter.
Yeah. Well, we really enjoyed the video that you shot, and which everybody just now had an opportunity to see. So, thank goodness that the weather has changed in your favor. You're able to get out there and go hunting again. One thing that you had talked about in the video was the Archaeological Society.
Yes.
And if you could tell us more about that.
Well, 2003, like I said in the video, that's when I first started looking for arrowheads, and that's when it kind of piqued my interest. And I went to my first show at that time, and they were looking for an editor for the group, and I thought, why not? So I joined their group, and we're called the Badger State Archaeological Society. We're affiliated with Central States Archaeological Society, which is now 21 states included in that group. And I just became the editor. I thought, well, I can write, it's easy. No problem. Boom.
And they kept you.
And they kept me since. So I must be doing okay. Shout out to those people. Hello.
So, what are some good arrowhead shows that people who are watching our podcast might be interested in attending?
One of the best shows we had, I can no longer say have, unless he changed his mind, was Henschel's Indian Museum show. That was at Elkhart Lake, but now we hold that show at Howard's Grove in the high school. That's usually in June. February starts our whole shindig, and that's down at the Schwabenhof in Menominee Falls. And then, I gotta jump ahead a little bit here, August is normally Pleasant Valley, and I believe we're still holding it there. That's at West Bend. And then our last show will be in Monticello, and that's at the grade school there.
Okay.
And that's like our biggest show. That's where everybody kind of piles in, because they're coming up from Illinois, over from Minnesota, and then everybody from up here down.
So these are huge. I mean, you got people coming
Fairly.
in from out of state.
Yeah, it's nice to see different people and different things that they're finding on their home ground compared to what we have here.
Right.
And we'll try to get some links from you and include those down in the
Okay.
comments
Yeah.
section. It'd be nice to be able to point people in
Sure.
the right direction.
Sure.
And as far as the Archaeological Society, can anybody join?
Yes, I have the information over here. I can get that to you later too.
Okay, okay.
That gives a big rundown of everything they have to do
That'd be
to.
nice to hear. So like you, in 2003, you went out and just decided you were going to start looking for arrowheads.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to go be a budding arrowhead hunter or look for artifacts, what advice do you have for getting started?
Get permission. That's the big one. Do not just go out there. You go out there, you will probably never be able to go back. Certain properties are off limits now. I wanted to always go out to the nuclear plant area because I know that's good for artifacts. You can no longer go out there because of the 9/11 situation.
Well, sure.
So that's a no-no now. You can go out there. If you call them, they will tell you, which they told me. You can come out here and look for arrowheads. It'll cost you $1,500
Okay.
for the fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my
and
gosh.
then you'll be booted off the land. So
Well, I know, like if I'm out in a field, which I actually have done, I have actually been
You
in a
gone
field.
looking? Yeah.
They all look just like rocks to me. What is it? If you're looking around, what is it that strikes you that hey, this is a potential find? What are you looking for?
in general, what I try to find, and usually you can tell what they are, just once you start looking for it, you'll know right off the beaten path looking at these things. They'll have work to it, and they're usually a shinier stone. And you're going to be lighter to that really dark earth. That's not hard to, and then you just go through and pick everything.
Okay.
And I find I pick everything up, which is probably not a good thing, but
And do you find that are there certain geographical features to the land that you look for to say like, oh,
Higher
it's more
ground.
likely there's work here?
higher ground.
Higher ground.
Higher ground anywhere close to a waterway or a natural spring.
Okay.
That's where you'll find it.
Someplace where they would have established their
Sure.
their little
Settlements.
Settlements, yeah.
Camp.
And a lot of
Yeah.
word of mouth, just talking with other guys that have been out in the area.
Sure.
And they're like, they'll give you a nudge, go over there and check that out. Okay, so.
Okay, so the Two Rivers, well, Manitowoc County is a pretty fertile area then?
The whole state of Wisconsin is a pretty fertile area for
Okay.
anything and everything. It's all over the place.
Okay,
Going back how many years?
My oldest piece is 9,000 years.
Wow.
So it's pretty extensive.
So super long history to this
Yes.
to this region.
Well, you figure we've only been here a few hundred. They've been here for thousands and thousands of years.
right. And I know some of the pieces you have in your collection that we saw in the video, they're just really cool. I mean, they're just, and some seem like they're in pristine condition.
In general, they are. They, for the most part, retain their sharpness unless they've been in the water for a very long time. Then you're always going to have that abrasion going on. So they're going to be worn down. I had told Todd about a point that a friend of my wife's daughter had found in Manitowoc, and that one was very, you could tell it was still an arrowhead, but it was just rounded. There was no sharpness left to it.
Okay, so just
It
fair
sat in
wear
the
and
water.
tear, yeah.
It sat in the water for a long time.
Okay, now you are a resident artist
Yes.
here at Basil Ishkabibbles, and I keep saying it too. Spring is sprung. So part of springing is art gets changed out in the gallery. So we have some new pieces of yours. If
Yes.
you right above us, if you would like to tell us about it, and I'll get my head out of the way.
I'll move mine. Melon also. I don't really know. I'm still going with kind of a common color scheme and everything, but I don't know. Everything's just really bright, and I just thought, well, I'll just start with a buffalo. So I did the buffalo, and then I did and then a bobcat, and this is random animals, and then this morning I put in the yellowfish and the blue bear. I call him Gentle Ben, but I did the other two fish last week, and it's just like, kind of working. So I might be at the end of my fish now for
Every day he's got a new piece. It was amazing because I keep getting these messages. Here's the newest one. And every day it was like, put them up. I'll
Really
catalog them.
prolific,
Yeah, but you go in these spurts. But I've noticed within just this last couple of weeks, the colors you're using, it just seems like you've gone in a different direction. Typically, I mean, most of your work is of people. And so now you're branching out, and it's really exciting to see. It looks more crisp to me. It's just a different side of you.
Too bad my penmanship isn't.
No, actually, I was going to say that. Actually, your signature is improved with this.
I don't know.
I'm sorry you can't be a doctor anymore.
No.
So we are going to be showing some footage of your Glassy Lassie series.
Okay.
One of which is on this wall. She's all the way up at the top. If you want to tell us about her, and then we'll talk about the other ones.
That was actually just a mock-up of something I have planned in the near future, which, wherever that may wind up, I don't know. But this is the smaller scale version of what I want to do, and the bigger version may end up different. And it's just I use the Irish proverb, marry a mountain girl, and you marry the mountain, which is you pretty much marry into that whole society.
Right.
They're going to control every little bit of you.
Right. Because I think she turned out really good.
Yeah, she's cute.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
And that was, I think, number 6 of your Glassy
That's
Lassies.
the sixth one.
And Glassy Lassies, if you want to explain that to people.
Just I don't know if anybody else has done it. I'm sure they have, but I just thought, well, I can paint on canvas. Why can't I paint on glass? I'm just going to see what it looks like, and evidently it works.
So no, it turned out really, really nice. So what are some of the commissions that you've done recently?
The one that's in the process of being made into a canvas right now is the Raleigh Point Lighthouse. That will be going down to Houston, Texas. I did a Robin Yount picture, Bernie Brewer, and Al Bundy for
Yeah.
a gentleman out in Colorado. So that's already been sent. I have not heard whether he's gotten it yet or not, but
Okay,
that's not in my hands anymore.
okay. And you also did one, it was for a wedding gift.
Yes, the young lad's name, I guess I shouldn't say his name, so I'll call him Christopher. Well, that is his name, but I'm not gonna give his last name, just in case they don't want it to be out there. But his mother, I used to work with her at Manitowoc Cranes, and she wanted something that would stand out as a gift, and she knew I was an artist, and she'd been tracking my paintings now through the gallery, and she said, would you mind doing a painting my son and his wife to be? And I thought, no problem, I could do it. And I did, and they were happy.
And it was a really cool photo. It looked like they were at Red Rocks out in Colorado. That's what it reminded me of.
They were in Amarillo, Texas, at a
okay.
rock quarry.
Okay. And so I saw the photo, and I also saw the end result of your painting, and it was spot on. It was gorgeous. And from what you told me, the bride and groom were delighted.
Yes.
So that was a very, very nice piece of work. So what are you working on right now that I haven't seen yet?
I did one today. Just a piece of property that I like to rummage around on. And I posted it on Facebook, so if you want to see it, you can see it there.
Okay.
Good teaser. Nice. Very good. Very good. Kevin, this has been a lot of fun. Always great to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
And we're excited to see your next artwork to come up, and want to continue to hear about your exploits in arrow hunting too.
All right.
All right, and we are going to show you some footage of the Glassy Lassies. So that'll be following in just a second. So thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The Glassy Lassies were, like I said earlier in the interview, kind of off a whim, I guess. And I always liked the Frank Frazetta paintings and drawings. And this is actually my first run, and this would have been a Frank Frazetta ink drawing from when he was quite a young man. Thought it was a great thing, and I just added color to it. Otherwise, it's just a black and white. I thought it might look kind of cool with color to it, and I thought, well, I can try this on glass, something different, and I like the way it turned out. And then I just kind of continued the theme. I don't recall which one was which anymore number-wise, but I know this is like the second last one I had done, and she's more of a 3D type thing where there's multi-levels on the glass. And I'm going to work into something on that later on eventually. The third piece over here is a girl that I had done on my own just to try it out. It's okay. I'm good with it, I guess. And then Frankenbabe, I call her. I've done her. And then there's another piece, number 5 is downstairs, and that one's in the works yet. I'm not quite done with it. And the Irish one you had seen earlier in the previous video. So these are my Glassy Lassies. They will probably continue. So that is all, folks.
All right, so that was episode 12.
Yes.
We've made it through yet another episode. Thanks for sticking with us. We had a great time. We hope you did too. We want to hear from you. So please, if you have just discovered us, please like our Facebook page and follow us. Better yet, check that little see first box so that we always come up in the feed and you never miss an episode. And we want to hear from you too. Like add a comment. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us, what's my good side? Probably because I haven't figured it out yet. I don't think
It's
I have
not
one.
from over here.
It's not from over that side. Yeah. Anyways, stay tuned next time, and we will see you out there on the streets of Two Rivers. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.